maker. I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like a stain. We make the whole room drop and everybody saying, we want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school, we think we're so cool. We take it back to the past, we gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger, make my Jaeger just a little.
Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, September 4th. As we turn the calendar to another month, but summer finally has arrived. This beautiful, hot summer weather.
Very hot today.
Yeah, very. And but it's been nice. We're enjoying the late summer surge of heat as we get ready for the NFL season. Are the football players going to be ready for this all of a sudden heat
Starts
wave?
tonight.
Patriots at Miami this Sunday. That could be a little hot one, don't you think? And yes.
Giants will be.
NFL gets underway this evening, as you mentioned, out in Seattle. All right, let's say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr.
Yes, Scott. How you been?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much, Bob. I'm excited. You know, this is the day that all baseball fans have been waiting for all summer.
What's that?
The start of the NFL season, because baseball's been a bust. Nothing to watch in the MLB for us Red Sox, Yankee, Met fans in the area.
You know, the Boston-Yankee rivalry.
Been looking forward to this day for some time now. Turn the page on that baseball season. Turn the page on Derek Jeter's career, for crying out loud.
Hey, it's 3 weeks to go.
I mean, is it too soon? He's not off the field yet. Can I start just saying how pathetic he looks out there? Bunting, trying to bunt for a hit in the first inning of the Red Sox game the other night? I mean, come on, Bob. All right. We will touch on baseball maybe at the very end of the show, but this is the NFL preview show. Of course, Bob's show, Spotlight On, Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. Our usual director, Mike Toohey, running very late, so late that he's not here. His show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. Thank goodness Mr. Mike McFadden is in the house running the show. And there we see one Connor Faco. He is here as well, and he is becoming the glue of this crew. I tell you what, he is really stepping up big time. Hire this kid. He's worth every penny we don't pay him.
Is that me? Is that me from when my job working with the
crossing guard back on duty?
Yes.
The tallest crossing guard in the area. Not going to miss him with Jenna and Connor.
Some guys probably will try.
That's true. That is true. All right, we're live, of course, here at our new time, 6:30 until 7 o'clock. Phone lines are open, 203-792-4101. Strange Man has promised to call in this evening and correct that Cubs joke that we got wrong, apparently.
What was
He will say. We'll leave it to him.
Okay.
We'll leave it to him. Are you ready for the NFL preview, Bob?
I am ready.
Shall we start in the AFC East?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to start in the AFC East. We'll get to your NFC East and your G-Men in a little while. AFC East, of course, Patriots coming off a season where they went 12-4 miraculously, really, if you think about it, Bob, considering the fact the Aaron Hernandez situation, Gronkowski, multiple injuries, Wes Welker shipped out to Broncos, Shane Vereen gets hurt, Vince Wilfork goes down, Gerard Mayo goes down. All that happened, and yet they still ended up 12-4 and in the AFC Championship game. So what do? They come back, they get healthy with Vereen and Gronk on the field, Wilfork and Mayo back in action, and they add one Darrelle Revis to the secondary, which has been their long-standing problem. And not only that, but they back that up with Brandon Browner from the Seahawks, part of the Legion of Boom. He's out here, LOB, coming east. He will be suspended for the first 4 games, however. So they will have to make do without him. They bring back Patrick Chung, who was a former Patriot. He's been toiling around the league. He comes back. And they got a nice rookie, Dominic Easley, out of the SEC. Looks pretty good. Aqib Talib did leave town, but obviously replacing him with Revis and Browner is a pretty good upgrade as he went to Denver. And right there we see Dobson, him and Kembrell Tompkins, and even Danny Amendola, who are getting no love really from the press leading into the season here. These are guys that were first-year guys for the Patriots last year, learning new systems, especially the rookies. They had their drops early, but they looked like they were starting to play well come down the second half of the season before they both got hurt.
Right.
So I expect more from them. I think offensively, Patriots are going to be very tough. Stephen Ridley, if he can get over his fumbling problems, he's a good back. They got Brandon Bolden to back him up. And, of course, Julian Edelman's there. I think the national media has missed the point entirely with Danny Amendola. They felt that he was the guy to replace Welker. No, I said it all year last year. Edelman was the guy to replace Welker.
Right.
Amendola was a deep threat. And if Amendola can't do that, you have Dobson, Tompkins, and they also went out and got Brandon LaFell from the Carolina Panthers. So, and then they made the trade to bring in a second tight end, Tim Wright, coming in from Tampa Bay to replace Aaron Hernandez from a year ago. So right now, I would say they have big, tall receivers to go deep and long, plus the speedy Amendola. Edelman, coming off a great season last year, he will step it up again. And Gronk, we know, is the monster if he stays healthy. If is a big question with him, we know. But he pronounced himself ready to go for week 1. I expect him to be ready to go. And also we had rookies Chandler Jones and Dante Hightower, who played well last year. They should be in their second year playing much better as well. So I expect the defense, which was off to a very good start last year before Will Fork and Mayo went down, to be better this year, to be very good this year, and the offense to be good. So I think, I did look at their schedule, Bob, and I saw some people saying the schedule was weak. I did not see that at all. Let's run through it real quick. AFC East does play the NFC North this year. That's their common opponent, and they also play the AFC West. Let's not jump the gun on those jet photos yet. We'll get to those jet photos soon, guys, in there. But let's take a quick peek.
Rexy and his JET.
Yeah. Well, we see Gino right there. We'll get to the Jets in a moment. Let's stick to the Patriots for a second as we're going to run through their schedule. At Dolphins, at Vikings to start before they come home to the Raiders. So those 3 games, in Miami this weekend is going to be hot.
Oh, yeah.
And Miami could be tougher than we expect. Remember, they survived that whole Richie Incognito, Jonathan Martin thing last year, and they actually played pretty well as they were 8-8 through that all. So after the Raiders home, they go at Chiefs, home Bengals, at Bills, home Jets, Bears, Broncos. They get 3 in a row at home, which is nice mid-season. They got at Colts, home Lions, at Packers, home Chargers, home Dolphins, at Jets, home Bills. So I think that schedule is actually quite difficult. So 12-4 I still think is reasonable. But, they got some tough teams, especially in the second half. Chargers are supposed to be a lot better this year. They were a tough team last year, won a playoff game. We know the Packers are going to be bouncing back with their health. If they stay healthy, they got healthy in the offseason. So we'll see. And the Dolphins are not supposed to be a pushover. Bills, I'm not sure what to expect. All right, let's get to the Jets. We can check out those Jet photos. Gino is the man, second year. Mike Vick hot on his tails, maybe. So we'll have to see what happens, with Vick there.
You want to let the dogs out or no?
Well, who let the dogs out? That'll be the new. They tried to get back Fireman Ed, but he refused to return. Right. Maybe the no JETS Jets chant. They'll just pump in who let the dogs out. Yeah. Get Vic on the field. So they brought in Vic. They brought in Chris Johnson. They brought in Eric Decker. I still say Decker. I'm not so sure he's going to be a solid number 1 receiver. He was number 2, maybe even number 3 with Welker there last year in Denver. And let's not forget that Peyton Manning was throwing him the ball. You do have to, when you make that critique, it is only fair to say he did have decent numbers when Tebow was there throwing the ball as well. So Decker did perform with Tebow in Denver. So that is, something to say for him.
Tebow now?
Working studio somewhere, probably ESPN, I believe. Yeah. But it's all going to be Geno is the guy. Can he advance his performance and also the defense? And also on offense, Curley, Jeff Cumberland, the tight end, Chris Ivory, running back, backing up Chris Johnson. So I'm not sure about their weapons on offense besides Johnson, who did have off-season knee surgery, Bob. I didn't realize that until just this week. I noticed that. He had an okay season for the Titans last year. He's far removed from what he has once been. But I think he is a good player to bring in here. He's got a lot to prove. But will he be able to, off the knee surgery, really do much for them? And their other offensive weapons not that good. Santonio Holmes is gone, which is probably a good thing. He was a distraction and not a great player. But defensively, we know the Jets and Rexy, that's his forte. They had the Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. They got other guys in the front line and in the linebacker core that they like. I'm hearing a lot of questions about their secondary. That could be their big problem. So we'll have to see what kind of schemes and formation the Jets can do. They are home this weekend going against a rookie quarterback, Derek Carr, and their Raiders. They come. We know that anytime a West Coast team flies east for a 1 o'clock game, and it should be, actually, there could be rain on Sunday.
Yeah, they're saying rain possibly.
So that could cool things down a little bit, at least here.
Yeah.
But I think a rookie quarterback going against a Rexy defense making their pro debut could be in trouble for the Raiders, as Matt Schaub, who was shipped out of Houston, ended up in Oakland, and he's got arm fatigue. The season hasn't even started. Not a good sign for Matt Schaub and his trying to reclaim his career in Oakland. Oakland did get MJD he could be a decent player, and Darren McFadden is an explosive running back, but he's healthy, so I'm not sure what their deal is going to be with Maurice Jones-Drew and McFadden. It's a potentially potent 1-2 running back punch. McFadden has always had injury problems, and there we see Schaub not looking good in the preseason. All right, other AFC East teams, Dolphins we mentioned, were 8-8. They bring in Noshan Marino from Denver. He looks to supplant Lamar Miller, who's been so far pretty much a bust. We will see what happens. They get over the Jonathan Martin, Richie Incognito thing. Mike Wallace is a weapon. Brian Hartline, I looked at his numbers, fantasy reason why. I did pick him up late in one of my drafts.
What does your fantasy draft look like?
I was pretty pleased. I will say this, Bob. I am feeling safe, at least. It's been a couple of years since I had my QB situation. Both my teams, Tom Brady is back in the mix on both my teams, so I am pleased with that scenario. We will talk more about my fantasy football team as the season goes on.
Okay.
But they have some, I'm not sure about their offense in Miami, but you got to figure they'll be a little bit better. Defensively, a lot of people think they're good. They'll get to prove it this weekend against the Patriots in the heat down there in Miami. Bills, I'm not sure if they're going to improve their team at all. 6-10. They were last year. E.J. Manuel in his second season trying to be healthy. Stevie Johnson left town. He went to San Francisco. He was their number one wide receiver. So I'm not sure Sammy Watkins was the big draft pick they got, but he is injured, battling rib injury.
We got a call?
We do have a caller. We'll see who this is. Hello, caller. You are on the air. Thank you for calling.
Hello, Sports Buzz. How are you tonight?
Is this my man, Strange Man?
This is Strange Man calling in. Sorry I couldn't make it back to Danbury in time, Scott.
No problem. We're in the middle of our NFL preview show, so we got a lot to get to, but what do you got for us, Strange Man?
Well, I just wanted to say, in memory of Joan Rivers, I have a joke for you.
All right, we will honor a joke-telling moment. I think Strange Man is going to try to correct the joke that I got wrong the other week about the Cubs. Let's see if his delivery can be better and we can get the correct punchline, if that's the one I think you're going to do. All right, Strange Man, the floor is yours.
Okay, what did Jesus say to the Chicago Cubs?
What?
Give up? All right, don't do anything until I get back.
Much better than what my delivery was. Strange
Okay,
Man.
Scotty, take it easy. Hopefully, we'll see you down there next week.
All right, thanks, Strange Man. Take care.
Okay, bye.
All right, well, that joke makes sense
now. Yeah.
He put the instructions to the joke on the page.
Yeah.
And that's how it got messed up. All right. Maybe, we get that call. Maybe anybody else out there.
Yeah, we need a couple. Talk some more about football.
4101 is the number if you want to call in. Maybe our evil director, we know he's a big football fan.
He likes some Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, KC Chiefs he's the big fan of. So maybe he'll call in and give us a prediction. But anyways, all right. So I think it'll be much of the same in the AFC East. Pats.
Yeah.
Jets, Dolphins fighting for that second spot. Can the Jets improve on 8-8? Can the Dolphins improve on 8-8?
I don't know. I mean,
postseason?
Postseason they were doing pretty good.
You know. They could. So they made some moves. I do like some of the moves that the Jets made more than the Dolphins, really. But we'll see what happens there. All right, let's move through the rest of the AFC because we got more to do. We'll do that quick. AFC North, Bengals, the defending champ of the AFC North at 11-5. They need to get over the hump come playoff time is really the situation for the Bengals. Anything in the regular season is not going to be, much for them. They'll look to, continue their recent run of success in the AFC North, but they need a playoff victory, which they have not been able to get. As we see right here, Johnny Manziel was all the rage. Bob, can you believe this? I don't like to mention the other networks, but PTI, which is my only show I still watch on ESPN, I cannot stand anything else on ESPN. They had the audacity to lead with Johnny Manziel and the Cleveland Browns for 5 consecutive days 2 weeks ago in the middle of this preseason.
Why?
It's their number one topic.
Why?
Unbelievable. I just don't get it. They're better than that. I will say it right here, right now. They are better than that. I could not believe my ears every day they did it. But anyways, Browns are bringing up the rear at 4-12. And they get the bad news that Josh Gordon is suspended for the entire season. So I don't really see them improving too much. Brian Hoyer had QB to start the season with Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, the backup to start. Steelers, they had problems last year, but they did finish 8-8. They were right on the edge of making the playoffs. They lost a tiebreaker. They're looking to bounce back. They improved their offensive line a little bit. They got LeGarrette Blount from the Patriots to improve their rushing attack. So we'll see if that helps them, and maybe they can get going and supplant the Bengals as the top team in the AFC North. Ravens, the 2-year-ago champion, they are looking to get back into the postseason. They were bad last year, somehow finished 8-8. Sneaky move by them getting Steve Smith. I do like that move. I thought they lost something when they let Anquan Bolden go to San Francisco last year. I think Smith is much the same type of player as Anquan Bolden, so he could help them. The Ray Rice situation with the domestic abuse suspended for the first 2 weeks. AFC South, Colts, the defending champ there at 11-5. I don't see too much competition in this conference. A lot of people saying that the Texans, who we thought would be good last year, had a disastrous season. They're going to get things turned around, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is the quarterback.
Yeah.
They did go out and make the big splash. They got J.J. Watts, and they got the big guy from defensively from South Carolina in the draft. So their defense is going to be good, but to improve from 2-14 to what?
To what? Maybe it's...
Jags were 7-9. I mean, they did get the former Patriots offensive coordinator and the guy who did a good job at Penn State, Bill O'Brien, as the new coach. But I don't know about that. And the Titans were 7-9. I don't know. Titans, I just don't know.
Let's put it this way. If any of those teams improve, that will be an improvement.
I mean, the Colts, this is something to watch here, Bob. They get Reggie Wayne back, who went down with injury second half of the season.
Right.
They let Donald Brown go, but they brought in 2 former Giants, Ahmad Bradshaw and Hakeem Nicks. Are there. So with Bradshaw, and they had Trent Richardson, who had trouble fit again as he was traded early in the season, but he had more time now to figure out their system with Bradshaw.
Right. Nicks is a good player. I mean, he can,
potentially, he should be a very good player. So I think the Colts still own that division. And then out west, the Broncos, you know, at 13-3, and then coming off the huge 43-8 beat down in the Super Bowl. Will they recover from that? And will they recover from the 4-game suspension? Crimea River Wes Welker.
Yes.
Unbelievable. He's got the concussion problems, and now he's got the drug problems.
Oh.
The kids on the street calling it Molly, Bob. I used to call it ecstasy back in the day. You know, it goes by the other term, E. Now it's being called Molly.
Yeah. We get some good stuff, you know.
He's proclaiming he doesn't know what happened at the Kentucky Derby.
No, he said
apparently he does not, because he was jacked up on amphetamines and Molly. That's a killer combination. I thought you drank mint juleps down there. He's drinking something else. Holy cow, Wes Welker. So I was having some concerns about the Broncos losing Decker and Welker with the concussions. Now he's suspended the first 4 weeks. And, you know, I'm not impressed by Emmanuel Sanders and his backbiting of his former QB, Roethlisberger.
Right.
You know, he's now going to have to replace Welker in the first 4 weeks. You know, they do have that good tight end who came on the scene last year. And, you know, their number 1 receiver, Demaryius Thomas, but they lose Marino as well. Yeah. So their number 1 receiver, their slot receiver Welker and Decker are all out at least to start the season. People are happy with their signing of DeMarcus Ware out of Dallas and Talib out of the Patriots. Chargers are on the rise. I think they will be good. They could give the Broncos a run for the money. Nobody giving the Chiefs any love at all. So I think that's a problem. I think KC should still be fine. I don't know why people think that they're going to just completely fall off the map. And the Raiders at 4-12. We will see what happens. They're playing the NFC West this year. Remember last year, the Broncos' schedules was a cakewalk. I don't think it'll be a cakewalk this year. I think they got a lot of tough things to talk about.
We at 5?
NFC East, Bob. Let's turn the page to the NFC East. I say we got about 8 minutes left still, according to my watch.
Okay.
NFC East, your Giants.
Yes.
What do you say about your Giants, Bob? Let's let you take it away.
Well, I'd like to see a better season.
They were 7-9 last year after starting 0-6.
So hopefully we'll start off at least.
They got 20 new players on the team this year, Bob.
I would like to see us start off at least.
Kevin Gilbride is out of the mix. Their offensive coordinator gone. They're bringing in Green Bay's former guy, Ben McAdoo. They got change. You know, everything in the running game is different. David Wilson, unfortunately, had to retire. Andre Brown is gone. You know,
I want to see Eli have a better season. I mean,
Rashad Jennings actually was a sneaky good pickup by them. Not too bad. He had good numbers second half of the year in Oakland. Andre Williams, they drafted out of Boston College. Odell Beckham, another draftee receiver, but he's hurt. So I'm not sure offensively where they go, really, Bob. With Nick's gone, Justin Tuck, another player who's gone. They got 3 new offensive linemen. Their offensive linemen were terrible. And we know Eli had a horrible year. They did bring in Rogers Cromartie and Walter Thurman, another Seattle player who got shipped out. So, you know, they got some tough things going on. At Detroit to start on Monday night. Home Arizona, Houston. Arizona might slip this year after their good season last year. At Redskins. Redskins could be a sneaky team.
What? Did you see this thing in this morning?
What's that?
It's just what says Washington. They dropped the Redskins logo.
Really? Who's doing that? Isn't that part of the media? I know media people are doing that. I will not do that until it officially becomes change in name. You know, hey, that's their team name. It's been that way for a long time, Redskins. I will use it continuously until I get notified otherwise. Cowboys, you know, Romo coming off the injury.
The choir
I think this is the Eagles' division, Bob, to lose.
Yeah.
Unless your Giants pull some miraculous turnaround. But I do think the Eagles will be better in their second year under the coach there. And they bring in, they lost Deshaun Jackson. They did bring in Darren Sproles, which I think will be good. There are some questions with the Eagles, but I think the system is what is going to make their deal run. NFC North, I think amazingly enough, Packers were 8-7-1 last year and were in the playoffs.
Right.
because the rest of that division fell apart. The Bears had injuries as well, and the Lions gagged.
Oh, yeah.
Lost their final 3 games, which got Schwartz fired. They have a new coach, former Colt coach, Jim Caldwell, which I don't know is much of an upgrade, but he should bring some stability at least.
Okay.
Teddy Bridgewater hopefully will get some starts in Minnesota. I think the Vikings turn things around, but I think the Packers are probably going to battle it out with the Bears, and the Vikings with Norv Turner, their new offensive coordinator, that should be good as well. In the NFC North. NFC South, Panthers I think are going to fall off if they lost Brandon LaFell and Smith. Cam Newton starting the season with rib injury, so I think they're going to have some troubles. Their defense front 7 still good. New secondary in Carolina.
Right.
Saints probably the team to beat. Atlanta looking to get healthy, and they had the terrible injuries last year. They did lose Tony Gonzalez, but they did get everybody else healthy, so that 4-12 could turn around as they play the Saints opening weekend as well. Bucks, I'm hearing a lot of people this year talking about the Bucks. Lovie Smith is there, that's good, but I don't know. I mean, come on, everybody talks about the Bucks every year.
Yeah.
We are running out of time.
Right.
NFC West, Seahawks, the defending Super Bowl champs.
Right.
San Fran with their suspensions and injuries and player turnover, I think they start to stumble a little bit. We know the Rams lost Sam Bradford, so they're going to have some trouble. Sean Hill era.
Right.
I don't know about that. Cardinals were the sexy team last year, but they got a lot of injuries on their defense coming back to start the season. We will see what happens with them. Seahawks, could they repeat, Bob? They open
It's
tonight
possible.
with the Packers.
Anything's possible.
There was some good college football this past weekend. Florida State and Bama survived.
How did your Colorado State do?
Colorado State, second half surge, absolutely ran roughshod off 17. They were losing over Colorado. They were losing 17-7 early in the second half. Final score 31-17 Colorado State. So that was awesome. UConn did not have that quite the same success, losing 35-10 in the new era of UConn to BYU. Their home Stony Brook. CSU primetime again Saturday night against Boise State on ESPN. I will be watching that game intently as the Jim McElwain era continues. Our state right there, CSU 31-17, very happy. We did not get to tennis. We did not really get to baseball. We will just mention that the Yankees are 4 games out of the wild card, so they are still having trouble.
We will not be live next week, right?
We will not be live next week. We will try to do a tape show to be here to recap week 1 of the NFL. We'll see if we can pull that off, and get back on top of some of the baseball, because these pennant races, very interesting things were happening. But we are out of time. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. We will hopefully see you next week. Take care.
Thank you.